Welcome everyone to our breakout session. Glad you're all here. My name is Chuck Stenzel. I'm with Transsystems Corporation, and I'll be facilitating today's discussion that we have here in front of us. Matt?
My name is Matt Siss. I'm with Transsystems also, and I'll be trying to write down everything you guys say.
Oh, and we'll also be recording this session as well. So if we want to go back and take a listen on everything, we can do that as well. Just so you know who's part of the group, I'll just read off everybody's name. Jill Anderson, John Kelly, Howard Goodman, Mike Gressick, Bill Koch. I think that's not right, is it?
It's Cuck.
Cuck, Bill Cuck, thank you. Philip Lane, Rob Sabo, and Kim Wasson. Did I miss anybody? All right. Well, great, thank you. And so this is a great opportunity. It'd be better if we were all sitting around the same table, I think, to have a conversation and such. And that's really the intent here, is to listen to you and get your feedback, as well as listen to others and understand some of the components of what is unique or needs to be addressed, or what the key features are of this corridor area and the project area. And so Matt's got his screen shared with the so we have this little template here set up to jot down our notes, so it's a good record keeping thing. Just imagine if we had the flipboard, if we were meeting in person, just to jot down things. So and we started with some categories off to the side here. We call them the purpose and need categories. That's basically some of the things that we've heard about: safety, transportation, traffic type things, or drainage, environmental, quality of life, non-motorized like peds and bikes, and then other considerations. So we'll try to fit them into the categories as people bring things up. And we'll spend about half the time talking about Old McHenry Road and then Quentin Road. So I think we'll just open it up, and if someone wants to start, we'll start with Old McHenry Road, and what your thoughts are on some of the things that you think are important for the study team to look at, or what some of your thoughts are.
Well, hi, Chuck. It's Howard Goodman. Can you hear me?
I can. Hi, Howard.
I'll start out. I'm a little bit of a disadvantage here because I don't live in the area. I know a little bit about it, or I've done my best to get over there and try and familiarize myself with everything. But if you remember earlier, I'm the executive director of the Transit Management Association, and basically we connect communities and businesses with transportation agencies, and our whole goal is to improve highway, reduce congestion, lessen the carbon footprint and everything. But from a businessman standpoint, one of the things that is a head scratcher for me is the duration, the time to get this off track. I think it's pretty agreed that something needs to be done here. And I'm not sure how it's funded, but I do know that interest rates are only going to go up. And, if that is part of the equation, arranging financing now or shortening the duration, I would think would reduce the ultimate cost. So, just not from a area, but just from a business standpoint, that's where my initial thoughts are. And then I live right over the Wisconsin border, and they've gotten into putting these roundabouts in a lot of places. I'm particularly not a personal fan of them, but they do intrude on people's properties and such. And I've seen a lot of people who, happen to have really nice homes or houses along the roads up here where they've lost trees and, property and all that kind of stuff. So I think we have to be sensitive and cognizant to those type things. The other thing is I do know some residents in the area, and they're all huge bikers. And I see we're addressing the cycling community. But in terms of on the SIG, I only saw there was one bike group represented, and I believe there's a lot of clubs there. I could be wrong, but I think it would behoove us to at least reach out to some of them and get their input, because safety, you know, and the ability to get around is certainly an issue. So those are my initial thoughts.
Thank you.
So my name is Rob Sabo. I live in the Wicklow Village subdivision, which is right off of Midlothian to the south of Old McHenry. I think the project scope identifies what is one of the largest problems in the area, which is the amount of trains crossing at that intersection. I think the issue is that it happens during rush hour. It happens 24/7, 365. And what the concern is, you know, from a public safety perspective, you have a fire station just west of Midlothian. I don't know what the response radius is, but if they need to get to the opposite side of the train tracks, the only underpass that exists is to go all the way down south to downtown Lake Zurich and go through that underpass. There have been occasions recently where the trains have come to a crawl or a complete stop, creating a impassability for an extended period of time. And I have seen in a different jurisdiction on Deerfield Road in Buffalo Grove, an ambulance actually gets stuck and sitting at the crossing gates with them down. And I wouldn't want to see that happen here. Likewise, with Hawthorne Woods Village Hall and Police Department on the opposite side of the tracks, that also presents a danger. If they're at shift change and they have two officers at the Village Hall or the Police Department, to get to the opposite side of the tracks with a gate down is a significant, I would say, delay and safety hazard. From a resident perspective, we have two young children, a 5 and a 6-year-old, and we very strictly reinforce that they should avoid and stay away from Midlothian as well as Old McHenry for two reasons. A, the area that we live in, so at March and Midlothian, there are no stop signs for Midlothian traffic, and the speed limit there is 50 miles an hour. And while, you know, I don't necessarily think the speed limit should change, I do think some pedestrian improvements are certainly warranted in the area, especially in light of the number of children and families living there, utilizing the different parks. So we go to Foglia quite a bit. We go to Hawthorne Woods Community Park, but at all times we don't allow them to go near Midlothian or Old McHenry without a parent present. And it is one of our worries as they are growing older and want to run around the neighborhood on their own with their friends, that they will be going to those intersections and crossing. The last comment I'll make is that currently there really is no good pedestrian access ways along those routes. There is a little bit of, on Midlothian, there is no pedestrian access. So you're walking through drainage ditches essentially. On Old McHenry, you have a very narrow gravel walkway that's almost a coach walk right along the roadway. So you feel the wind of cars and trucks moving by you as you're walking. One final note is that I'm not a biker, but I do observe a number of bike riders, especially along Old McHenry, and there are no bike lanes. So I would suggest keeping in mind a complete streets approach as the project team works on this. Given the amount of infill development happening in that area, there will be more traffic, both pedestrian, bicyclists, as well as cars. So I think all of those need to be addressed, and that's what I got. Thank you.
That's great, Robin. Before the next person goes, you mentioned complete streets, and that's a term that's used to make sure that you're addressing not just vehicular traffic, but pedestrians and bicyclists and non-motorized, and make it complete for everybody. Thank you.
Hi, it's John, Lake Zurich Fire. I just want to have the concern with lines of sight at intersections. I'm sure you take that into consideration. Preemption for the lighting, pedestrian protections, things along those lines that I would see as a concern. We do get bicyclists down 2-3 times a year along those roads. And I think a lot of it is due to the basic line of sights that people don't have. And then the bicyclists go down because the motorist didn't see the bicyclist. So that's about it for now.
Thank you. Okay.
Bill Cook?
Jill, you're muted if you are trying to talk.
Yeah, Bill.
Sorry,
I
go
see
ahead, Bill.
one there says drainage. I think it was about 15 years ago when they did the last time the road major. They wanted to borrow drainage from me, retention. And I don't have more retention. They put the retention in the ground out in front of me. It's like a 6-foot pipe for the intersection for drainage. So they're gonna obviously need more storage somewhere if they dig a hole to go under the tracks. And also, because they put that pipe along the road, the public water couldn't go in that space. So the public water, the Aqua Illinois, is on my property. Just to let you know.
Okay.
Traffic congestion, just what I voiced in that Menti meeting was how if you go 20 feet in the ground to get under the tracks, how does the church get out of their parking lot, and how do my customers get out of my parking lot? So that is my biggest major concern.
Okay. Very good.
I'm done.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, great comments. Any other comments today for Old McHenry Road?
Hi, this is Mike Gressick. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm here.
awesome. Yeah, so I do own about, like I said, 250 feet of Old McHenry frontage road between Echo Lake and Fogley YMCA. And we have a large pond. So I get a lot of chances when I'm outside just doing yard work or anything, just witnessing some of the interactions that take place on Old McHenry Road and bicyclists. And I'll just say, I'm not a biker. However, I have seen some instances where the bicyclists and motorists don't see eye to eye on road shareage. And that's definitely a safety concern there. I've heard the verbal exchanges and I've seen the gestures. So that's one item. Definitely, I would give it serious consideration on. And then also least disruptive to what people have. At least in the situation where I am, there's a wide open farm field across the street from me. So I would imagine that I would hope that they would not come and take area or land away from me when they have this 40 acres directly across the street from me that is wide open and actually for sale as I speak. So I would hope that, the proper consideration would be the current land ownership of what the homeowners do have currently. Let me think what else. Environment, please, a lot of us moved here for the beautiful settings that we have. I have a little under 2 acres. All sorts of wildlife visit our yard and our pond on a nightly basis. It's a fantastic environment to live in. It's beautiful. We definitely do not want a cement city. That's it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, it's Jill from Foglia.
Hi, Jill.
I too am concerned with access to our facility from Old McHenry Road. And as Mr. Zabo mentioned, we are a family facility, and it would be nice to have access for our members and families that live in the area to either walk or bike here, and also even for us and our, to use our park, and even for our camps and things, to be able to walk and, enjoy the beautiful nature around in our area, and they're not able to do that. And then also our members to be able to walk here and walk to the church and the parks and everything. So
Okay.
that's all I have.
Great. Great. Well, we've got about 10 minutes left, so why don't we switch over to Quentin Road, and talk about if there's any, same kind of discussion, things that are on your mind, safety or transportation related, or any other topic that you'd like to bring up as it relates to Quentin Road.
Bill Cook.
Yes, Bill.
How the heck are you gonna get 4 lanes past that barn? Do we really need 4 lanes on Quentin? That's like quality of life, isn't it? I don't know. Not many people have extra land in front of their house along Quentin.
Yeah.
That's my only question. Why 4 lanes on Quentin?
Yeah, and at this point, we don't know what might happen out there. We're just taking information. So, but that's a good comment to know that it's a tight corridor, it sounds like. Okay.
Hi, it's Jill. I think on Quentin, there is, just after the church, there's an entry into the subdivision. And I think that there's a lot of times folks that are turning left onto Old McHenry get into that lane early, and it causes confusion there.
I would echo what Jill
Yeah, I
just
think
said.
there's a lane right before, it's like Heather Lane and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I going the wrong way? Somebody want to, is it down here further?
I think it's closer to
Go north.
North?
closer to
Yeah, it's the intersection right before Old McHenry.
Old McHenry.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy.
Yeah. So there's a turn lane just to the south of that, and then there's another turn lane. So you can see where people kind of turn and then turn.
So you're saying
Yeah, I
that
feel
she,
bad for the ones that aren't slowing down for people that are turning into that subdivision. Mhm.
We've had a few accidents there.
Yeah,
so you're saying they cheat here and try to get in
Yeah.
this lane to get here.
and I never do it though, ever, ever, ever.
This is- This is
Yeah.
Philip Lane. I live one house away from Quentin Road on Old Barn Lane. I live on the street with the old barn. The project has marked a spot 50 feet in from the roadway. It would cut my neighbors to the west of me. They would no longer have homes. Half or more of the homes on the east side would lose 10 or more feet, either by loss of right-of-way land that's already in the hands of the county, and also by eminent domain. There's no way that any reasonable accommodation can be made by taking land to the east. There are 2 particular problems. One is where the creek is, where there's a turn. That is a problem. And the old barn is about 10 feet off the road right now. So the other side there, on the other side of the old barn, is a home. You're right there. That's right.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
If you look there, it's very tight. So there's no way that there's going to be able to be any kind of taking of land or enlarging at that point without taking someone, destroying the barn and taking the land of the person whose house is, the house to the right and south, he's the one who owns he's the one who owns the barn, yes.
Okay.
So there's no room there.
Okay.
Yeah, that definitely goes back to that tight corridor that we have to work with here.
This John with fire again, my comments would go for both corridors. That was the preemption and the, you know, the bike pass and lines of sight.
Yeah. So the entire issue here is who's going to decide whether or not it'll basically, if along Quentin Road particularly, if the road is widened, it will no longer have that country feel. It will be an urban road. And that's one of the things that everybody along that stretch north of Enzel believes. You'll turn it into basically the same kind of road that's south of McHenry, of 22. And I just want to say, having lived here for 41 years, when I came here, everything south of 22 was farmland. So there's no tradition there of a country road, okay? No one there can claim that they've lived near a country road for 40 years. I've lived near a country road for 40 years, north of 22, and that would be ruined by making it a 4-lane highway.
Yeah, so the context is important of the surrounding and the rural nature and all that. So, okay, good comment.
So
Rob, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I would add in, you know, right now is kind of a unique time to look at Quentin Road, especially with Old McHenry being closed. So you have all traffic coming down through Quentin Road. And normally I don't tend to take it in the mornings, but I'll tell you, even with Old McHenry being closed, the traffic backup hasn't been horrible. I haven't experienced a significant amount of congestion in the area. The only area that I've hit any congestion is the turn lane at Quentin Road and 22 and Quentin Road heading southbound to turn eastbound. That turn lane has backed up significantly, but again, that is a unique circumstance currently because of the road closure on Old McHenry. But to the point I'm trying to make is that given that all traffic on Old McHenry is being funneled down Quentin, and we're not experiencing during rush hour a significant amount of backup, I don't necessarily know that a widening would be warranted. You know, maybe some roadway improvements and crossing improvements at like Highland Drive and Quentin Road, but as far as widening, I don't know that it's warranted at this point.
Okay.
I have to say one other thing, with all due respect to the commuter gentleman who's on this committee. If you don't live in the area and you're not familiar with, you know, coming by to take a look, I really don't think it's appropriate to suggest that we hurry up and get the project done because it's going to cost more if we wait. I just don't think that's appropriate kind of language. I'm sorry, maybe that's not political, but that's just not appropriate.
Yeah, this is Howard. I didn't mean to rush things through at a disadvantage to the people who are there by any means. Just, you know, from a monetary business standpoint, I just thought I'd make that point. But I think it's more important to protect the area and all the environmental issues and people's property and such. I didn't mean at the expense of rushing through and sidestepping what, you know, is best for the community. I was just looking at it from a financial aspect. So sorry if you misunderstood me.
All right. Hey, this is all great comments. Really appreciate everybody's input. And we've got 30 seconds plus maybe another minute after we get the warning here coming up. Any other thoughts, last thoughts about anything on the project? Something that you think we should toss out there to consider?
Bill Cook again.
Yeah.
They comment on the double turning lane or the turning lane that people take by Heather, and that people race up behind them, go around the corner to my property, to the garden center. You have almost the same situation as people are coming racing down the right-hand lane, and they want to turn into our store, and people behind them think they're going to the intersection. We haven't had a rear ender yet, but someday someone's gonna get pushed right into my entrance. So I think we need a little bit longer right-hand turn lane.
Okay. All right, I think we're going to be going back to the main group here shortly.